This is Leah with Backyard Homestead in Starkville, Mississippi, and we are out in the garden this afternoon and we are going to harvest our candy onions. And these onions have been growing for about 105 days. We planted them on March 6th and today is June 22nd. And let's see, last year we got about 113.43 pounds of onions. So just from looking, I would say we probably have at least that much, hopefully more. But we're going to get out today and harvest these onions. And we have basically let these field cure. We went through and as they grow, they kind of move themselves up to the surface, but we've loosened these and just let them sit out in the field and dry and cure. And it's been about 2 weeks since we've had any rain, and it's been in mid to high 90s every single day. Today I believe it's 96, and we've gotten a couple days that have been in triple digits. So these are dried out. The foliage is all dried back. We've got some really, really pretty, nice onions. And they are, for the most part, cured and ready to go. So instead of hanging these or putting them on drying racks with the foliage still attached, we are just going to go ahead and get out here and pull these and remove the foliage as we go. And we will do a weigh-in and lay them out and show you the progress as we go. But we are going to get out now and harvest our candy onions. Okay, we're going to get out here and harvest the onions, and we are just going to pull them and go ahead and cut the foliage off, cut the roots off, and drop them in the bucket and get them ready, and they'll be ready to go. And they're already good and dry. The skin's already separated and dry, papery, so they're good to go. And again, just from looking at this row, I think we'll be able to beat last year's harvest. So that's it. We're going to cut off the bottoms, cut up the tops, and then we'll do a weigh-in, and we'll come back and show you what we got. Alright, found a way to streamline this process. Instead of cutting it as we go, we're basically just going down the row and gathering them, and we're putting them in a wheelbarrow, and then we'll carry it over to the compost pile and cut the tops and the bottoms off. But I mean, there's very little effort to this. We're just pulling them up. They're gorgeous, gorgeous and dried and ready to go. I'll show a little bit more of that. That's pretty fun. Pulling them up and going with them, and they're healthy. Seen very little damage. One we picked and it looked like it was trying to sprout, but that's been one out of nearly a quarter of a row now. Alright, I'm going to quit staring and watching and come help, but I just thought that was pretty fun to watch. This is our wheelbarrow full of onions, and this is with the green still attached. Again, there are very few that aren't bent up. There are very few that aren't bent over and just almost completely cured. But we're going to cut the tops off of these and still lay them out on the table and let them dry well, but they're basically cured now. But this is a good full wheelbarrow full of onions, and now we're going to go over to our compost pile and cut the tops and the roots off, and then we'll come back and do a weigh-in. Okay, we filled up the container we're putting the onions in. We filled it up for the first time. There's still a wheelbarrow full out there, but we decided to bring them in individually and weigh them as we went. So this first container weighs, try to block that, 27.96, but this container weighs 0.96, so this is an even 27 pounds of candy onions. So I'm going to write this down and then we'll add it up so we can do a tally at the end. But this first load is 27 pounds even. Okay, this is load 2, our second green bucket, and this is 28.42 minus 0.96 comes to 27.46. So the first bucket was 27, this bucket is 27.46. So what's that, 54.46 so far. And we feel like we're about halfway through. Okay, this is the third time we filled up the bucket, and this time the scale reads 26.57. Again, the bucket weighs 0.96 for a total of 25.61. And this is our third bucket, and that's a total so far of 80.07 pounds. And we have another, probably not a full bucket, but a partial bucket left to go. We're gonna go get it now. Okay, so this is the last of the onions. We've cut all the tops off and the roots off, and I've brought them inside to dry. And this last batch, the scale says 6.4, and taking out the weight of the bucket, the 0.96, that comes to 5.44, which is a total for today of 85.51 pounds of the candy onions. And we've harvested some earlier, just on an as-needed basis, and we've harvested 4.15 pounds so far, and that gives us a grand total of 89.66 pounds of the candy onions for this year's harvest. And last year, I think I said earlier, we got 113.43 pounds, so a little bit down from last year, but still a very respectable harvest. So this is all our onions spread out on 3 standard size card tables, and we will leave them here for a week or two and let them finish drying out. So this is our candy onion harvest for this year. Not bad. Okay, while we were out here this afternoon harvesting the onions and getting them ready, we decided to go ahead and pick the rest of the garden, and we weren't really expecting a lot, but had a really nice harvest. So the rattlesnake green beans right here, we got 4.53 pounds. The blackberries, they're starting to dwindle already, it's starting to wane, but we've got 0.26 pounds of blackberries. Squash, we got 1.09 pounds. Our Better Boy tomatoes, we got 3.37 pounds. And our Bush Provider green beans, we got 8.15 pounds of those. And that brings our year harvest of the Bush green beans and the climbing green beans together. So far this season, we've picked 41.35 pounds of green beans. So they're doing really, really well. Thanks for watching.